So how do we manage our temples? The first thing you should remember is democracy would not work here. You can't say, okay, there are 800 persons in the village, they will vote, they will choose who they like, and that person will run the temple. He or she or they. No, you have to have qualifications. So when we determine who will administer a temple, we must first find out and get it declared, this belongs to this Sampradaya, and only those people can administer the temple. There is already a methodology by which hereditary trustees were there. The role of hereditary trustees is very important because the loyalty flows through their veins. We have seen enough. I've told you we are getting our temples back. I'm going to do a little talk on why we are getting temples back after this presentation. Let's assume for a moment all our temples are coming back and we are going to administer them. Before administering them, we need to see what really happens inside a temple or very adjacent to a temple. We have to see that. There are 4 areas by which you could segregate what happens in a temple. One is the worship, pujas, festivals, and those rare occasions where you do a consecration once in 12 years or whatever. Those are religious matters. The second is the administration of properties, immovable and movable. I just now mentioned the extent of properties Tamil Nadu temples have. The undivided Andhra Pradesh had more. Karnataka also there are more. In Kerala, the communist governments which came to power very early, they took away a lot of temple properties. And they are giving some pittance as an annual annuity compensation. We have filed a case against that. Unfortunately, Supreme Court wanted some more information and they gave the petition back to us. We are working on the information. We will be filing the case again. As per our calculation, the annuity as a minimum level, they should come to Kerala temples for the lands taken by the government, is about 280 crores per annum. And the arrears of the annuity, the last 70 years, with interest, it comes about 150,000 crore rupees. So, then you have the day-to-day administration in a temple. How you run a temple, when do you open it? How do you manage the crowd? How do you keep the temple clean? How do you protect them? How do you do a watch and ward duty? All this, and the daily expenses, the daily income, how to account it? How do you have expenses? Supposing you have some civil repairs, how do you call for a tender? All these things. These are all administration side. That's the third one. The fourth one is the heritage, especially in South India, where you have a large number of temples that are more than 100 years old. And any temple that is more than 100 years old is an ancient temple by definition. We have to preserve them. Preservation is something a little more than conservation. You have to keep them as they are. The only thing you should not allow to happen is their structural stability should not get diluted. You should keep them as they are. You can't say, okay, there is so much open space here, I'll add one more mandap here. There is so much space here, I'll build some shops. I'll put an office. No. The vacant spaces are holy, they are important, they are part of the heritage. And they are part of the Agama Shastras, more importantly. So these are the 4 areas. Now, one cannot expect to be, everybody to be experts in all these 4 areas. Definitely not. Even in more than one area, it's going to be difficult. So how do we manage our temples? The first thing you should remember is democracy would not work here. You can't say, okay, there are 800 persons in the village, they will vote, they will choose who they like, and that person will run the temple. He or she or they. No, you have to have qualifications. If you have something like a bank, you don't elect the bank manager, do you? You don't elect the college principal. You don't elect the RBI governor. No, it doesn't work there. So you need to have qualifications. And there is already a methodology by which hereditary trustees were there. Hereditary trustees were usually coming from families which had affluence, people who had um, knowledge of the Shastras, and also had some influence in the locality. The role of hereditary trustee is very important because the loyalty flows through their veins. The grandfather would have taught his grandchild or granddaughter or grandson when they were 5 years old or 6 years old, saying that this is our temple. We have this duty. And when you come to a temple, you take that Mudra Bandhana and tie it here. You prostrate at the entrance. This is how you receive prasad. And how do you do offer worship? And how do you protect the properties? And how do you keep the temple clean? And when you come out of the temple, you don't take anything with you except prasad. The Travancore Maharaja, when he comes out of the temple, he washes his feet and comes. He doesn't even want to take the dust from the temple. The Raja was always known as Padmanabha Dasa. He was never known as the king. Slave of Padmanabha. Now, what are the qualifications? I put here internal and external. To run the temple, in Tamil, it's called Ulturai. To run affairs, look after the affairs outside the temple, it's called Veliturai, inside and outside. So inside, the pujari is there, the archaka is there, the musicians are there. Then you have scholars of Shastra, Veda Pandits and all that. What qualifications they have? The cook, even the person who cleans the temple, what qualifications they should have? Does a sweeper require a qualification? Yes, he requires a qualification. He should first have a bath and come. He should respect the temple rules. He should not be a drunkard. Now, if you see, show me one executive officer who is not a drunkard. I will show you 9 who are drunkards. External administrative capability, vision, loyalty, honesty, how to protect properties, they should show efficiency. So external qualifications. Then we should not just depend on individuals. We should have 2 bodies. One body of Dharmic Parikshad, which will have able administrators, people with Shastra knowledge, and people who know about the temple, archaeology, inscriptions, basic stuff, not archaeology experts. Something to do with temple Shastras. One body, and one body to look after the assets. I'll come in. Now, this is a very important point. I have a set of slides separately to show how we were shortchanged for the last 70 years, how, if I may be permitted to say so, even the Supreme Court denied us fundamental rights. Every temple belongs to one Sampradaya or other. Why do I use the word Sampradaya instead of denominations? Denominations is a 100% Western concept, and it's more a church concept. You only had Catholics, then you started having Protestants. Then in the Protestants, there are hundreds of divisions. If you go to the US, you will find the Methodist, Seventh-day Adventist, Amish, Protestant, Pentecostal, and within Pentecostal, born again, whatnot and all that. So each church belongs to one denomination or other. And if you belong to a Pentecostal church, if you are a member of it, we are not members of church temples, but the Christian community, they are members. And if your family goes to a Pentecostal church, and if you move from Bengaluru to Mysore, and Mysore you don't find a Pentecostal church, I'm saying just an example. There's a baby born in your family, you can't, as a Catholic family, Pentecostal family, take it to a Catholic church and say, please baptize my child. No, they'll refuse. Somebody dies in the family, can I bury my dead in your church graveyard? No, refused. But in Hindu Sampradayas, I might be a Vaishnavite, and within Vaishnavite, I might be a Tengalai Vaishnavite, but I'll still go to other temples, other Vishnu temples, other deity temples. Vice versa, I'm a Saivite, I go to all Vishnu temples, I go to Devi temples, I go to Ayyappa temples. And nobody stops me. Nobody would stop me. Hey, you are a Vaishnavite, why are you coming to my temple? Have you ever heard that question being asked anywhere? No. You are a Vaishnavite, why are you doing this ritual inside a Shiva temple? No. This is Sampradaya. Sampradaya will have unique practices. The Saiva Sampradaya will be different from Vaishnavite Sampradayas. But that doesn't stop them from denominations, whereas courts said, no, you need to be an organization. You need to have a common faith. You need to have a common name. And only those people should come. Sabarimala is not a denomination. What? An unique cult like Sabarimala is not a denomination. Why? Because millions of devotees are coming and they belong to various sects. Vaishnavas, Saivites, even non-Hindus are coming. So you are not a denomination. So since you are not a denomination, you are just a Hindu. And since you are just a Hindu, it is not a Hindu practice to stop women from coming to this temple. So that's the logic behind the majority judgment of the Sabarimala temple case. So in reality, we should only look at the practices, the tenets the temple follows. This follows the Tengalai Vaishnava Sampradaya. Yes, it belongs to that. This follows the Linkayat Sampradaya. Yes. So when we determine who will administer a temple, we must first find out and get it declared. This belongs to this Sampradaya, and only those people can administer the temple. Forget the concept of Hindus. There is no such thing as Hindus. But there are people universally following Sanatana Dharma, which has its basis in the Vedas. Among the so-called Hindu religion, a Gnostic is not someone who does not believe in God. A Gnostic is someone who does not believe in the Vedas. So we must remember that. And now let's go to who can be the first trustees. For 2 generations, there are no trustees. I mean, no proper trustees. So how do we take the temple from government and how do we appoint trustees? Hereditary trustees are there, fine. Their family can continue unless and otherwise it is proven that the current family members are misfits. Then they should not be there. All the major temples in Karnataka or Tamil Nadu or Andhra, they all had at one point of time, especially before 1951, some scheme of administration framed by either a district court or a high court or even a lower court, and which they have been following. There are always, we Hindus are experts in fighting. I want the first honor. No, I am the 3rd son of the 4th wife. I am only entitled to run this temple. All these problems were there. So they all went to the court, and courts invariably came with good schemes of administration. They settled the schemes only with the interest of the temple in mind and how it should be run. After HRNC, after Muzrai department taking over these temples, the first thing they did is scrap those schemes. We are running the temples as per law. That's their argument. And what does the law say? Anything the minister says is law. So we should adapt to schemes of administration. And yeah, government will be there as a watchdog at a distance. What do we do? These days we allow dogs inside the houses. In those days they never did it. It used to be tied up next to a tree or something. The night they let it out. Government can regulate. It can say you have to follow double entry bookkeeping system. If you are getting X amount of income, you have to get your accounts verified by a chartered accountant. You should publish your audited reports. You should beforehand publish your projected budget of income and expenditure. These are regulations. But control is saying, I will decide when your temple will do the consecration. I will determine how much it will spend. I will determine who is to be invited for festivals and all that. Now, who can be trustees? We already talked about denominations or sampradayas. If it is a Vaishnavite temple, only Vaishnavite should be administrators. Everyone can go and offer worship, but it should be only the denomination people who should administer the temple, but they should be qualified persons. So what is the Chola system here? Chola kingdom, you might have heard about Chola kingdom, the builders of the Tanjore Bragdishwara temple, the world famous, which is now UNESCO site. They also have built a temple here in Karnataka, I think some 70, 80 kilometers from here. This is the Chola temple.
There are quite a lot.
Quite a lot. Many. Okay. So they had a system of administration of villages and any institution, which is called a Koda Vole system. Vole is a palm leaf, and Koda means a pot. So first they announced the qualifications. You should have your own property. You should have at least 1/3 of a veli. Veli is 6.5 acres or 6.25 acres. So you should have at least 2 acres of land. You should have your own house in the village or town. Why do they insist on this? Otherwise, tomorrow you make somebody a trustee who is not even a resident of this village, who doesn't have properties, and he runs away with the temple jewels. What do? At least you can lay your hands on the house and the land. So first, you should have some properties. Then you should be between the age of 35 and 70. No, like making someone very young who is inexperienced, or making someone very old. In those days, 70 years is a very ripe old age. Probably many of them did not even have good eyesight. So 70 is the maximum age. And you can be the administrator if chosen for 3 years. The next 3 years, you cannot contest again. These kind of qualification, you should not be a drunkard, you should not have, and if you fail to give the accounts after being chosen as a trustee and serving as a trustee, not only you and your family members, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins are debarred from contesting. So they write the name of the qualified people. They have divided into 6 administrations: tanks, temple, property, garden, and all that. And you have 15-20 names in the pot. A child, almost a toddler, is asked to come and pick up the palm leaf. So the first name, second name, 6 names are chosen. Even today, this is followed in Chidambaram temple. The Chidambaram temple, it has got about last count about 320 Dikshitas, and each of them have equal powers. So if you were in the managing committee previously, your name won't be there. The other nine members form a committee. The other members' names are put in a pot. On February 28th, 9 names are selected, and 1 month time is given. Supposing somebody says, no, this year I don't think I can take the responsibility, they are given that opportunity to deny that. Then on 1st April morning, again the 9 names are put and they are taken. The first name comes out is the secretary of the Podu Dikshitas. That means he's heading all the Dikshitas for that year, 1 year. This system is being followed. So we should very clearly lay down the qualifications: people with property, people who are resident, people who have education, people who have skills, and known for their honesty and known for their devotedness. And then the first time around, we should place the names in a pot before the Lord, and we should ask a child to pick it up. So even those who are chosen, they will know it is the Lord who has allowed them to be chosen. That system should be followed to begin with, is my humble opinion. But of course, that doesn't mean any names. The name should be from the denomination. The name should be of those people with qualifications. And trustees should hold a minimum of 3 years. And after choosing the trustees, in the day-to-day running of the temple, if there are any disputes, religious disputes, people or the devotee should be barred from going to the courts, which will give you a verdict after 25 years or 30 years, or will just give any verdict which has nothing to do with dharma or shastras. They should go to the Dharmic Parishad, which is a body, should be an apex body, I said, regarding religious matters. Now, if you take State Bank of India or railways or LICs, which are huge organizations which have been there for more than a generation, they have a lot of external immovable properties. They have sites, they have a lot of buildings, they have a lot of houses. Railways has huge properties. And they get income from those properties. It's a sizable income. Besides their banking business, besides their railway business, besides their insurance business, these companies get money from these properties. And how do they manage these properties? They have something called estate office. The estate officer is a qualified judge in the rank of a district judge. He has experience as a judge and he is chosen and designated as an estate officer for LIC. Now, any dispute on rent fixation, eviction, encroachment, and all these things, you can't go to a civil court and file a case against the property owner who is SBI or LIC. You have to go before the respective estate office. Similarly, for temples, we should have a district-wise estate office which will deal with the temple's external property management. This temple has 10 houses. The 10 houses are let on rent. So how do you fix the lease? There should be guidelines. There should be general guidelines and there should be specific guidelines. Supposing one of these 10 houses has a special market value, then naturally the rent fixation will be different. And there will be disputes. And all this will be dealt with by the estate officer who has quasi-judicial power. Now the estate officer gives a judgment, gives an order, and he says, no, from 2016, the rent has been revised from 10,000 to 25,000 rupees because that is the fair rent, that is much less than the market rent. You will have to pay arrears from 2015. People usually go to the court and they get a stay order, depending on the judge or depending on your lawyer, whichever the case may be. So in such cases, the court should not grant stay unless and otherwise, even the minimum, that 10,000 rupees, which is pending since 2016, that is cleared. So the legislation should be made such a way that it does not help the violator. It does not help the encroacher. Supposing I say, no, the rent has been increased, it should be actually only 10,000 rupees, I've been charged 15,000 rupees. Okay, who are you? How did you come to stay in this house? Oh no, I paid pagadi to somebody and moved into this house. I don't have a lease agreement. Then the answer should be get out. You can't tell the court, no, if I'm moved out, I have a family, my son is studying. First of all, you broke the law and you came here. And you're trying to use the law to have a gain over the temple. That should not be allowed. Now, what are the other things we should do to run the temples? How many of you know that the temples in Andhra or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu or in Kerala, they do not even follow double entry bookkeeping system? If you put a deposit, bank deposit, supposing a hundi collection, you open the hundi after 3 months, you find 5 lakh rupees, 25,000 rupees, you put 5 lakhs deposit, 25,000 rupees you keep for expenses. That 5 lakh rupees is treated as an expense. A 10 lakh rupee deposit matures, it is treated as an income. This is single entry bookkeeping system, just to explain. And there are no external audit, there's only internal audit. And we saw how many audit objections were pending as of 2016 in Tamil Nadu, 1.3 million audit objections. Wherever necessary, external audit should happen. In fact, the Tamil Nadu Act very clearly says, and it was drafted in 1959, it came to force on 1st January 1960. The Act says all temples which are having less than 1,000 annual income shall have an internal audit. That means if you have 1,001 rupee as annual income, you will have external audit. Okay, move that 1 lakh to become, 1,000 to become 1 lakh now, or even 10 lakhs. But Pioneer Temple, which is getting 250 crore rupees, has no external audit. And one more thing I'll tell you, the Tamil Nadu team, which does the audit for temples, the internal audit team, does not even have an manual, audit manual. This has come out of RTA questions. They don't have an audit manual. How do you do the audit? We do it with the internal circulars. Good. So then something called voluntary adherence to RTA. At least those temples which have more than 5 lakh rupees income, even if they come out of government control, they should voluntarily adhere to right to information. That doesn't mean you keep answering all the questions people ask you. Today, I can, even if my name is Farooq Abdullah, I can ask questions under RTA about Tirupati temple. Nobody can ask me the locus. Because as a citizen of India, I am entitled to RTA. Now, when you do voluntary RTA, after coming out of government control, and for temples having more than 5 lakh rupees, you can lay some conditions. You will ask about the accounts, you will ask about the decisions taken. You will not ask for the pictures of the jewels. You will not ask for the rationale behind choosing a date for consecration. All that you will not ask. You will not ask if you do not belong to the Hindu religion. Something like this, those conditions. But you should have something similar to RTA. Then you should have Government of India accounting standards that are applicable to trusts and minimum administration cost. I talked about voluntarism in the beginning. Hindus should come to temples and offer seva to lift the palanquin of the Lord. It's punya. People should realize all that. They should come back. Ladies will come and clean the temple. They will come and do this kolam. They will decorate the temple. They will come with the garland of flowers. All those things. They will come with some specially embroidered clothes. All volunteerism. And the administration cost should be minimum. Today, the Tamil Nadu government charges 14% as administration cost and 4% as audit fee. Andhra Pradesh, a total of 20%. That is 1/5 of your income. Imagine 1/5 of the Tirupati income as administrative charges for the lousy administration they are giving. They are looting you and I and the Lord. Then we should, to begin with, publish what are the statues here, what are the valuables here, what are the properties here, the survey numbers, location. Is it agricultural land? Is it an orchard? Is it a site? Is it a building? All these should be published and updated once in 3 years or 5 years. And anyone endowing any property for temples, they should be immediately registered. What happens is, what has been happening over 60, 70 years is, there will be one devout gentleman who will be having 3 apartments, let's say, or he has 3 floors in his own house. He will say the 3rd floor income should go to Lord Vaidishwara for this purpose, for Annadana in the temple. During his days, it will happen. During his son's days, something of it will happen. The grandson's day, the building is sold off. There's nothing there. And who knows about it? Nobody knows about it. So, if you're endowing something, if you're willing a charity, they should all be registered by law. Like a will and with the register of properties. Okay? With copies to the temple, copies to the register, copy to the government, and maybe copy to the estate office, which you're talking about. And mutts, the Kanchi Mahaswami used to say, in Karnataka, if you fall, you have to fall in front of a mutt. There were so many mutts in Karnataka. And Tamil Nadu also. Is Kerala is one state where they don't have too many mutts. Andhra also you have mutts. You have Jeer, Periya Jeer, Chinna Jeer, all these things. Mutts have a very, very big responsibility. Today, unfortunately, I shouldn't be saying this, but one problem is nepotism. The next Matadhipati, even in mutts where brahmacharya have to serve, is usually from the immediate relative circle, or somebody is favored for whatever reason. Then that means you are not chosen as the next Matadhipati based on your horoscope, based on your outlook, based on your training, based on the tests done by the Acharya, the proper test done by the Acharya in selecting his disciple. If such things happen, if a proper Matadhipati does not come, what happens? Then we devotees won't respect that Matadhipati. We will find him like an ordinary human being. As it is happening now, but Matadhipatis have a very, very big role. Because if they stand up and say something, even today, there are tens of thousands of people willing to listen. Shringeri Acharya comes and says, no, this is not done this way. People immediately say yes. Pujya Swamiji, Pujya Sakracharya Swamiji, what he says is correct. As if we should not be certifying what he says is correct, but they agree with it. Because the person saying is an ascetic. A person who, when told his mother passed away, he said, okay, by Shastras I had to have a bath. He had a bath and went to do puja. So such people, we respect, we expect guidelines from them. So mutts have a very big this thing. I'm putting this as a special slide because tomorrow, all said and done, let it be denomination, let it be sampradayas, let it be schemes of administration. But when there is a dispute, when there is a problem, who do we go to? We go to Matadhipatis. And these Matadhipatis should guide us as per the Shastras. And to do that, there should be proper selection, proper training, and they should be like pillars of fire. And mutts also have the responsibility to run institutions, dharmic institutions, Veda Padashalas, Ayurveda Padashalas, Goshalas. And from them, we will derive inspiration.